All right, welcome back. It's Wednesday, so you already know what that means. Craig Hignight is joining us live to answer all of your burning questions. Good morning, Craig. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here. So we're going to start off with a question from Lori. Is it too late to start lantana seeds? Any suggestions?
Well, lantana seed, they're going to take a while. I would have actually started about 2 months ago. But the important thing is when you get the seed, make sure you take the pulp off of them. They have a coating on them that might stop them from germinating. Past that, it's warm temperatures and plenty of sun to keep your lantana happy.
From Paula, when should honeysuckle be trimmed and how much should be removed?
Well, honeysuckle, it blooms on new wood. So what you would do, I would go ahead and I'd do the pruning now. We're far enough into the season. And it depends. If, like my honeysuckle, the trellis actually started about 3 feet off the ground, so I could never cut it shorter than about 4 feet. You've got to make sure that it can still touch the structure that it's growing on, but a flat top, you'll have all new growth this year and lots of bloom.
All right, Erin wants to know, when should my lavender be pruned and when should it sprout in the spring?
Well, it could start showing signs of life. I've noticed a lot of blooms on the trees, and I think that the perennials are going to start coming up. Wait until you see some signs of life, and then just take out the dead wood. If it has died back really close to the ground, you'll take it down there, but leave as much green as possible at pruning time.
From Janine, can you plant geranium cuttings after they have been pruned?
Sure, geraniums aren't that hard to root. It's one of those things where you take your cutting, you let it lay for at least 24 hours. You've got to let that cutting heal across the bottom. It's called callousing. Then you root them in fairly dry soil. They don't like a lot of moisture as they're rooting. Always use a rooting compound and take several cuttings. Only a certain percentage are going to go ahead and root.
Our director, Brandy, she just said in my ear, she wants to know when are tulips going to be blooming?
Ooh, daffodils are in full bloom. I have to admit, I have not seen any tulips not in a pot.
You hear that, Brandy?
So far.
Yeah. Let's see. Chris says, I sprayed my fruit trees 2 weeks ago with neem oil. When should I spray them again?
Oh, you won't spray again until after they're done blooming. If you got your dormant spray on, we go through the whole bloom cycle. When there are no petals left on the tree, start into your fruit tree spraying cycle. 5 sprays, 10 days apart.
All right, and Mick wants to know, how can you get rid of Creeping Charlie?
Oh, Creeping Charlie, that's an easy one. It's called weed-free zone. It's probably the most effective Creeping Charlie control there is, and I think we're warm enough now that we can go ahead and actually spray. Remember, we do it in the spring. We stop when the temperatures get to 80 degrees. If you didn't get it all killed, you go back in the fall after the temperatures drop below 80 degrees during the day again.
If I didn't know Creeping Charlie was a plant, I would have said a restraining order. Probably your best,
order.
yeah.
From Joe, can you trim pepper plants to get a higher yield?
It's not going to help. The thing is that peppers bloom on new wood. So every time you cut them back, you're actually sacrificing some flowers. Unless you've got some that, if you've kept them over the winter and they have gotten really tall and leggy, yes, then go ahead and cut them down. Again, I would have told you to do that about the 1st of March. It's going to take a while for them to come back into bloom after you prune them.
All right, well, keep sending us your questions on our Facebook page right now, and we'll be right back after this break. All right, welcome back. You know the drill. We're taking all of your questions right now on Facebook.
Can I interrupt?
Of course you can.
Andrew mentioned tulips coming up, not in bloom yet. Get out there with your spray to keep the rabbits at bay. It's one of those things that is like candy as far as rabbits are concerned, and you spray them 4 days in a row to build the scent up to keep the bunny rabbits away.
All right.
Good advice.
Yes, it is. Okay, so we have a question from Dawn. We have dead grass circles around all of our trees. So does our neighbor. What causes this, and will the grass grow back?
Usually it comes right back. Quite often, some late season stress will go ahead and take out patches of grass. And quite often, as soon as it warms up, that grass comes back to life. I would suggest it's time to put down that step 1 now, so that you're growing grass and not crabgrass this summer. But a little bit of water. We haven't been getting all the rain that we're supposed to get, so maybe some water would help also.
From Robert, my peonies are just breaking through the ground. Do I need to fertilize them or do anything with them?
Oh, definitely fertilize. Where I was raised, it was actually a peony farm to begin with, and they'd go out every spring and they'd have well-rotted cow manure, and during the late winter, they'd just put a shovelful on the top of every crown. Peonies came up, they were fertilized all year. I know, cow manure is hard to come by anymore. Just try a good organic fertilizer according to the directions around the plants.
I'm trying to picture people with a bag in the field just trying to...
Yeah.
Dear cow.
Question from Lindsay. What's a great way for people living in an apartment to grow plants indoors?
Well, of course, assess the light that you're dealing with. You always choose plants according to the light that's available. And then we use pots with drainage holes. We use a well-draining potting soil. I always suggest maybe investing in a moisture meter to take the guesswork out of your watering. Everything in my house goes to the sink to get watered. When it's done dripping, it goes back to the window where it's growing. Believe me, I see many more plants killed with too much water than not enough. So, be careful with the watering.
Sally says, my blue hydrangea hasn't bloomed for a few years. It had green buds on the tips of old growth a month ago, and now they're brown. Why did they turn brown, and is there anything I can do to make it bloom? Could
be they got hit by a late frost. The important thing on those colored hydrangeas is to go ahead and do your pruning in late August to the 1st of September, and I mean prune. We're talking 6 inches above the ground. You take them way back, that keeps all your buds down at the ground level so that the snow protects them during the winter, and hopefully they won't come up too early and get nipped by a late frost.
Timothy wants to know, is 13-13-13 fertilizer okay to use on asparagus after harvesting?
Sure, that's fine. I always say any fertilizer is better than no fertilizer, and yes, you do fertilize after the harvest is done.
All right. We also have from, I believe it's Wallace here. When is the time to trim a burning bush?
Burning bush, I'd be getting it done now. I don't think they've quite leafed out yet locally. We're late enough now that you can just do a light shear across the top. If you ever need to take a burning bush down, more than just shaping it up in the spring, you want to do this pruning in late February, early March, and never take more than 1/3 of the entire height of the plant in any one year.
All right, and this is our last question. It's going to be from Nick today. Is now a good time to put in a new strawberry bed, and can I put it in a raised flower bed that I have? Should I put straw on it?
Well, it is time to go ahead and plant strawberries. They should be out any day now. A raised bed is excellent. You don't have to bend over as far to do the picking. And of course, you will straw them very heavily during the winter. Anytime the temperature gets close to 20 degrees, those strawberries better have a blanket on them.
All right, well, all
blanket
great
of straw.
advice.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you so much, Craig, for joining us.
Thank you.
And be sure to join our Facebook Live every Wednesday with Craig. There you can submit your questions and be part of the conversation. Here's a look at our Bridgepoint camera in downtown Moline. Good morning, Quad Cities at 11. We'll be right back. But first, let's send it over to our friends at ABC with a look at what's coming up on GMA3. Hey, guys.
Hey there, coming up on GMA.